Welcome to Go for Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. Y'all know my co-host, John. What's up?
Hey, everybody. Doing all
Wade?
right.
Everybody knows Wade?
Absolutely.
Hey, all right. So tonight is going to be a touchy subject, and it's about addictions, all types. And we're going to go over some that I know veterans are struggling with. And maybe programs out there that can help you, stuff, you know. But one of the biggest ones I first want to talk about is alcohol. And we're going to go down the list of it. We're going to go down there. Just to let everybody know, one of the reasons I'm doing this tonight is because in May is going to be Kick the Addiction. That's going to be the theme, Kick the Addiction. And one of the reasons I want to do this is because I want to quit my addiction. And, and I'll get into what I'm addicted to, and I'm not shy about it. I'm going to talk how I'm going to help myself. But I want to thank y'all for going over to YouTube. Y'all are growing that page. Keep going over there. Tell everybody, subscribe to it, like it, share it, do everything we can. And even while you're watching the show, y'all hit the like button, because the more likes we get, the more people come on. So let's get into the alcohol. And that's, to me, is probably a veteran's biggest struggle is alcohol. And I want Wade to kind of talk a little bit about this, and, because he kicked the habit, and explain to them a little bit why and everything, Wade.
Yeah. I make no qualms about it. I started drinking at a young age, and I started drinking before the military. So, that was really no big deal. It didn't seem like, whatever. Getting the military, we probably remember, everybody remembers Geraldo Rivera back in 89. He hung out at the 82nd Airborne for a week. And when he was doing 2020, he had a pretty good podcast or program back then, and it was called America's Most Fit Alcoholics. And the patch for the 82nd is AA. And that's what, that was always the nickname, America's Alcoholics. And alcohol was just a lifestyle. And, it was nothing. Drink 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, get up, you're on the road, you're drinking, you're puking, calling cadence. And after the military, it just, for me, it just continued. And I never looked at it like I had a problem. 3 DUIs, a couple public intoxes, probably a couple accidents. But I never had a problem with alcohol. Alcohol had a problem with me, and eventually it caught up to me. And, after a drunken binge in Vegas, ended up in the hospital with necrotizing pancreatitis. And, basically necrotizing means dead. And I basically fried 1/3 of my pancreas. And unbeknownst to me, you only have one of those. And, unbeknownst to me, as I didn't remember my anatomy very good, you need that pancreas. So basically given the choice of life or death, quit drinking or you're going to die in 6 months. I was faced with a choice.
I remember the day you called me.
And I called you when I got home from the hospital that day, and I was a mess. I was a mess.
Oh yeah. But I tell you what, if it really, for me, if it wasn't, I'm telling you this, if it wasn't for that doctor scaring the crap out of you.
Talk about scared sober, man.
That's right. And that's one way to kick an addiction. And a lot of people, go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say, we chose to talk about addiction because veterans as a whole, I looked it up, and roughly as a whole, 11% of veterans become addicted, but more so those in time of war, it ramps up to 35 to 50% or more become addicted to things. And because we're looking to what kills our pain that can't seem to be identified. Now, for me, myself, I spent the majority of my military career overseas. Young guy, started in Germany. Germany's known, obviously, for beer. I drank a lot of beer, and like Wade said, we go run on PT, and we all can know what the person in front of us drink because they're sweating it off, and we're laughing, and we're jumping out of rank, maybe to puke and come back, and you're young, dumb, and you don't really realize what's going on. I mean, you do, but you don't because they're too young yet, you know. And
It's tough, man.
we as veterans will cover it up to deal with society, especially when we get out of the military sometimes. I'm saying it's in service as well, but when you get out, it's a whole nother world.
Well, actually, this is what I'm going to say. They cover it up for pain. A lot of people do. I mean, this isn't just a veteran problem, but in a veteran community, it is 25% up more. That's why we have 22 a day. And that's why, there needs to be different help out there. One of the ways that I can tell you with my personal is I dip. Tobacco's on the list. I've been dipping since the age of 12 years old, 12 to 14. 42 years of my life I've been dipping. Come May, I ain't dipping anymore. I'm done. I'm slowly working my way off of it, doing certain things, and as soon as May comes, I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore. And back in the day, nobody really thought about the consequences of smoking and dipping. It's almost like, later on in life, if you've been smoking since you were 10 years old and you're 70 and all of a sudden you get lung cancer, you can't blame that on exposures. In my eyes, you can't. Like dipping. If I get, if I got lung, esophagus or lip cancer, that wasn't for exposure. That was exposure of my own dumbass. It really, that's how I feel about it. But I mean, I know people who have lung cancer that never smoked. Now, see, that's exposures, stuff like that. But there are things like nicotine patches. There's things like, they have these little, I think they're called NGs or something like that. They're like little pouches. You can buy coffee, you can buy cinnamon or something like that. It gives you the nicotine, but gets tobacco out of it. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's why I want May to be, hey, let's kick whatever addiction is going on with you. And I mean, talking to counselors, I do understand not everybody can kick an addiction overnight. I mean, and that comes like with alcohol. I know there's programs out there. I don't know why I think there was something that people get with DWIs that they give them a shot or something that if they drink alcohol, they throw up.
There's a
medication
a pill
for it.
Or a pill. That's what it is. A pill.
Antabuse, I believe, is what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
But the person has to take it. That's the problem.
Right. Right. But if you want to quit alcohol, man, I heard that's the best way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You'll even with mouthwash with alcohol in it, you'll puke it up.
And most of the things.
And I've heard that.
Go ahead.
Well, I had heard, and I could be mistaken, I had heard that nicotine is amongst the most difficult to break in. And because I have never smoked, but, I've been around a lot of people that have, and it's that hand to mouth. You get used to a repetition. You smoke after you drink, you smoke after you eat, you smoke after you use the bathroom, you smoke when you first wake up, even though if you slept for 8 hours, you didn't have nicotine in your system. And then if you decide, okay, I want to give up smoking, what are you going to replace it with? Are you going to replace it with the lozenge? You're still getting the nicotine, but you're not getting all the other crap. So it's
right. But there's ways of bringing it down. Like I know with what you're talking about, but there's ways to bring it down where you don't do it anymore. And I commend my oldest brother. He just quit dipping. He doesn't even do the pouches anymore. And I'm going to go with the way he went. And it does not help if you have a brother that's like, oh, hey, man, you want to dip? I kind of mess with them, but I stopped doing that because I think it is important. I've been wanting to quit, and I'm going to. And so, I mean, the other one is medications and drugs.
Mm.
That to me falls number 2 of them all. Because, I mean, you go to the doctor, they give you these medicines like hydrocodone, oxycodone, all that stuff. And then if you're in pain and you live with pain every day, and I had a family member that took, I am not lying, I think it was 420 Faranols a month. I think
Holy
it came out
shit.
to it came up to 8 to 10 pills a day. And then they waited and decided when he got really old, oh, we want to take you off of it, but he's been on for 20, 25 years. You just can't take somebody off of that like that.
No, you'd
You
have to
know,
wean them down.
right. And I know there's programs out there that you can go to, the rehabs, and you can go to all these places. And there's actually places that, like, AA and then all these other groups that will help you all along the way. And it's good to get into a peer positive relationships with people that will help you along the way, not people that will hand you a joint, give you medication, pop you some pills. Anybody want to add something to that?
Myself, when I did mine, there's a lot of alcohol groups out there, like your AAs, veteran groups. Your vet centers have a lot of substance abuse, depending on what your substance is of choice to do. My primary care, I actually took my doctor to that appointment. And my primary care wanted to throw me in a 30-day facility. And my daughter said, you don't need to. If he slips, I'll give you a call myself. I think you need, one, you need intestinal strength, fortitude, but you need pure motivation. It was my daughter. And soon after that was my granddaughter.
Right.
I consider myself a very strong emotionally person, and some people need that peer support. I was lucky enough that I had my own peer support around me, that I didn't have to go take classes. I did the day counting. Hey, I'm on day 17. I'm on day 30. It lasted 30 days of counting. And I had a friend tell me, stop counting today, stop counting yesterday. That's not what counts. What counts is tomorrow. What are you going to do with it tomorrow?
Ooh, I like that.
If you slip today, it's in the past. So stop counting. Yesterday's yesterday. Keep going forward.
And I'm going to add. I want to add
that
there.
works for me. You just gotta be motivated. You gotta stick with it. And I don't mean to say weak-minded, but as much shit as we've been through in the last 30 years, and if you need help, get help. I mean, don't be weak enough not to ask for help.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. And I know, and I'm telling each and every person out there, I know that sometimes some groups of the VA are not helpful.
And not for everybody.
Yeah, VA stuff is not for everybody, but there's outside groups, man, like churches. And go ahead.
No, I say, and who are some of the most stubborn people you ever meet in their lives? Military personnel. Stubborn as the day is long. Just a little bit.
A little bit.
And so you have to be.
We're stubborn.
You have to be pretty flippant. And sometimes the vast majority of us military personnel, if you're straight up and say, pull your head out of your ass, and they're hearing it from another veteran, that resonates. And they're like, son of a bitch, you're right. They don't like to hear it, but when it comes from a fellow veteran and they know they're right, they're like, okay.
Well, you know what? So like me drinking, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I drink 6 Dr. Peppers a day. I used to. I haven't had a Dr. Pepper. I ain't even craved it because I'm so determined I'm going to lose weight. And I don't want to not see my grandkids get married or, watch them grow up. I want to be able to be like longevity on my dad's side where they live in their 90s and, they can still walk around. They didn't need canes or anything because, they lived right. Most of them lived a really good life. They didn't need all the, alcohol and drugs. So that's, and so this next one, I think, my personal is the negativity of social media. Social media in general. That's another addiction. And I raise my hand right there. I get on there and I watch everybody bash each other because I want to look at them all and say, you both are saying the exact same thing, but you're just mad at what group you're in. But their social media, to me, is probably worse than most in my eyes, because it's time for me to go to bed at 10 o'clock. By the time it's 12 o'clock, I'm realizing, man, I watched TikTok for another 2 hours. And so social media, and best way of doing it, if you know you're in that category, delete the app.
Yeah, just stay off of it.
Yeah, stay off of it. Yeah. Like there's a lot of times I can't go into some of the veteran groups because it's not about that storm anymore. It's about how much everybody hates each other. And I don't want to watch that. I want to hear about our news.
Yeah, we're so addicted to our phones, and I would say, I go on to TikTok. I go on TikTok for entertainment mostly, and if I'm interested in learning something, or I'll go to YouTube. And it is easy to blow through a half an hour to an hour, and so especially now, I'm no longer in the working world because I'm not able to work. Kevin, you're fortunate enough to be able to work, and I'm not sure. Wade, I think you're able to do a little bit here and there. I'm also the oldest one of the group, but it's Wade, you've mentioned get out of bed. You got to get out of bed at the same time. Go to bed at a decent time and not stay up late. But when we're all used to, we'll be on our phones and looking at a computer and then looking at our television on the wall. How crazy is that? I'm guilty, so.
And right. I mean, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of stuff. So I wake up in the morning. The first thing I do is I go on, I check social media all the time. And luckily I have a job where I can't do it while I'm work. So really my customers be really mad because I mess up their haircuts on half the stuff I watch. I mean, and then, and that comes the next thing, hoarding. Hoarding is a big one. Because, I mean, especially, I don't know about y'all, but this could be with anybody else. People with PTSD hoard. They hoard a lot of stuff. And that could be because of floods. That could be because, they lost anything in a fire. That could be from, anything. But having any type of an addiction, hoarding is one of the ones that's up there. Especially with everything that, I know people who hoard food. I know people who,
like toilet paper. Remember
toilet paper. People hoard toilet paper.
I'm not going to kid you not. When was COVID? That was 20, right? 2020.
Right. Yeah.
I am just now almost halfway through my last box of toilet paper. I haven't bought toilet paper in 5 years. That's how much I had. So yeah, there's a little bit of hoarding going on here.
Right. And then over nothing. Yeah. Over absolute, because somebody watched social media and said there's going to be a toilet paper shortage, even though we make the toilet paper. So I didn't quite get it. I was over there. I was like, I go out in the woods, use a leaf if I have to. I mean, there's no point in buying a whole bunch of toilet paper. But it was funny seeing that's the only thing. No water was off the shelf, no food, but toilet paper was gone.
Gone.
Right. And buying things. Depression. And I'll tell y'all, if you take Ambien at night to go to sleep, there's such thing as Ambien shopping, and Amazon will show up at your front door, and you'll go, "How in the heck did I buy this?" But
My wife has asked me, we'll get something. She goes, was that an Ambien moment? I said, I guess.
I
Never
have
I
heard
didn't
of it.
know.
I
For
have
real?
heard that. Yes. Yes.
Never heard of such thing.
There it's called
Yeah.
Ambien shopping. But
Yeah.
depression,
And plus you get the munchies when you're on that shit, and you might not know what's going on.
right. And right, John, 100. I have heard from so many people going, I had 3 boxes of Amazon show up today. And I don't know why I ordered it because I didn't need any of it. But that comes with depression too. People buy stuff for themselves. I mean, it makes you feel good. It helps you out. I completely understand. If you want to buy stuff all day long, go ahead. But I'm just reading you the list that I have that is,
It's that damn
addiction.
credit card bill that I really hate that happens to come with buying. Like, where the hell did that come from? You know?
Now, here's the biggest one. And this is in the top 5. Hypochondriac. Hypochondria is a big one.
Huge.
Huge. Because I know a lot of people out there that say they'll, if I'm a firm believer, if you keep saying over and over and over something's gonna happen, or something's happened to you, or you have this, you're gonna end up having it. You get what you wish for. I mean, I'm waiting for my Ferrari for a long time. I keep wishing that, but hypochondria is a real thing that falls under also from depression. So most everything dipping, I'll tell you right now, if I get pissed off, if I get mad, that's the first thing I go to, because I think it's going to calm me down.
Does it?
No, I'm
No.
still pissed. About happy I got it in, but I'm still. And
Okay.
I mean, like when you get mad or upset, what's one of the first things you go to? You go to something that makes you feel good.
Or that you
True.
think makes you feel good. You're going to grab that bottle,
right.
or you're going to light up that cigarette.
Yeah.
Yep.
Smoke that, marijuana, pop that pill,
Yeah. True.
Gambling. Okay.
Gambling's a huge one.
Gambling's a big one too. I'd probably say that's in the top 3. And I don't quite understand. I mean, I don't get me wrong. You go into a grocery store, you see all these scratch offs and lottery. You think you're going to hit. Have you hit yet? Have had for 20-something
I've
years.
won some good. I've won I've won a few bucks. But I spent a lot of money to win it too. Though.
That's right. Some people are real. Hey, some people are really lucky. I mean,
well, some people will look at the odds. What are my odds? Well, Wade was sharing, something earlier with us about, if you're sitting in front of a machine and you put X amount of dollars in there and you keep winning, okay, and because you're getting that dopamine rush or whatever the chemical is released in your brain, oh, I want more. Keep on pulling down or pushing a button, and you look at it, like you said, Wade, look at all the fancy lights and the bells going off, and you feel great, As long as
I
you don't,
still am waiting for the fancy bells.
Payment when you're done.
I'm still waiting for the bells and the whistles and all that. But
and I can tell you, you guys know I was in Vegas last week, and what I try to explain. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Vegas. Vegas is a great place to go and visit, but you are not going to come home rich. I'm sorry. And when you walk into those very nice casinos and you stand there and you look around, there's a reason they are that nice. And all those machines, especially the penny machines, are what built them. And that's what pays every single employee's there's wages. And every single machine is controlled by a computer chip. And it's going to tell you when it's going to pay. You don't control it. There is no such thing as luck of the draw. And my friend had just had the hardest time telling him that it was controlled by a computer chip was like telling him there was no Santa Claus. I completely defeated him. He about started crying right there.
Oh my gosh.
And
terrible.
And so, terrible. I mean, there was a guy there that he hit for 1.5 million on a slot machine, on a progressive
Holy
slot
shit.
machine, right? He put a $5 bill in and had one spin. That's
Holy
the kind
crap.
of that's the people who actually win. It's not the people who sit there for 7 hours at a machine. It's just a stupid luck of the draw, $5, $10 bet, hit the machine and walk away. So that's it. Unless you're Dana White,
I'm guilty of it.
$50,000 a hand. I mean, so unless but it's fun. It's fun. Go have fun. It's great. It's great to go see and do, but you're not going to
have a limit.
Rich.
Have a limit. Limit.
Have a limit. Don't lose your
house. How much am I willing to lose? How much am I willing to lose is the attitude you better go in with. How much am I willing to lose?
It's entertainment. It's entertainment dollars.
I would love to say, that almost every addiction is an entertainment to somebody, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be doing it. And that's where you have to limit yourself. And for people with severe PTSD, people with depression, people with, what's that one? Split personalities, bipolar,
multiple personality disorders,
everything. You're on this list at least once or twice. I don't care what you say. I don't have any of that, and I'm on this list 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I can admit it. The one thing I'm not, and which is on the list, is kleptomaniacs. People that like to go in and steal. It's a rush for them. And
I would imagine that you get the rush because if you get away with it, you go in and you steal something and you get away with it. You want that rush again. It's the same concept, but it's an illegal concept.
I stole
and you're going to go
time.
and look at Striped Sunshine.
I stole one time.
Because you're going to get caught. It's just a matter of when.
I got caught. The first time I ever stole chewing tobacco. Dip it. And I got caught right then and there. And that guy belittled me, and boy, I never done it again. Because I didn't have enough money to buy it. And I was a kid.
Stealing something. Oh, yeah. I got caught stealing something when I was about, I don't know. I was probably between 8 and 10 years old, maybe even a little younger. And, oh, man, an employee caught me, and I had to go see the probation officer, and he threatened to send me to a foster home, scared the living shit out of me. It worked really well. It was effective. My parents were frustrated at what the guy did and how he went about did it. But guess what? It worked.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it did. It worked.
I've been reading the comments. Like Jason was like, sailors are really good drinkers. They're probably the best. I can honestly tell you, I agree with that. Because when we hit port out of being out of sea for so long, we get stupid. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I mean,
I had a couple buddies that were sailors, and they passed out on the steps of the Vatican.
I'm just telling you, sailors are stupid, man.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Really, I'm a sailor, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I can still remember him telling me that. He's a Gulf War vet. And I remember him telling me that they got so drunk and they passed out on the steps of the Vatican.
I passed out.
I've been to the Vatican. I'm surprised that happened because they got guards there. I'm
sure they got escorted off.
And
I'm sure.
And I like what Dennis also wrote on there. He goes, I go for the drinks, talking about gambling, and my wife plays with a limit. I like how he put, but with a limit. And see, and that's all fine. But Dennis said it right there, a limit. That's even with addictions. You got to limit yourself on what you do. We are in our 50s and 60s. Some people are in their 70s. But I know at my age, in my way early 50s, don't be laughing like that. That's not even funny. In my, mid 50s, is that better? Okay, in my mid 50s, I don't want to be in my 70s, wish I would have quit in my 50s. I mean, I wish in my 50s I would have quit in my 40s. In my 40s, I wish I would have quit, And so now I'm ready. It's a mindset. I promise you. Think about it. March. I started March off with kindness. April, dad bod workout, start working out, start feeling good about yourself. And I hope people are doing it. I can tell you right now, I lost weight. My beer belly is going away.
On that subject matter, let me ask something, Kevin, about the workout. Because I've had.
Go ahead.
Do you have problems with abdominal pain when you're trying to work out?
Not at all.
Really?
I'll tell you why. I cut out every bit of sugar. I cut out every bit of all the bad stuff. If I can't read the label, I don't buy it. Okay. Carbohydrates, I still have some, but not very much. I went a little bit lower on my sodium because I love pickles, but I don't eat them every day like always. But I can tell you, since I started this has helped my gut. And I go regular now to the bathroom. And you are what you eat. So, but the workouts that I do, it's an app. It's called Me. And it's all about, it's about you. It's a dad bod workout. You're not sitting there lifting 100 pounds or doing, man, I tell you, 5-pound weights at 50, mid 50s when you don't work out at all. That's like lifting 200 pounds in my eyes. Because you're doing it for just 15 minutes. And when I'm done, I am dead. But the next day I feel good. Today was the first day somebody walked up and said, man, you're losing weight. It's looking good. I don't have very much more to go because I've been doing this. I will say probably beginning or mid-May, I'm going to still do it, but I can go back to eating some regular food, not Dr. Peppers or anything, because I kicked all that. I don't want to do that anymore. April, with the dad bod workout. May, addictions, kicking addictions. If I can do this, we all can do it. I can tell you right now, if Wade can quit drinking, you can quit drinking. But you got to be prepared in your head. You only got one body. You only got one life. Take care of it. So you get to see them.
I mean, when it comes to drinking, like I said, I didn't have a problem. Alcohol had a problem with me. And when you're drinking a 12-pack plus per day,
right,
that's a problem. Someone who sits down and has one or two drinks, big deal. If that's what you enjoy, that's great. And if you can do that, my doctor said, you want to have a drink with dinner, go ahead and have one. And then she asked me, can you have just one or two drinks? And the answer to that's no, I can't. So I don't.
Right.
So, but I mean, if you want to enjoy it, like I said, I have been to Vegas countless times since I quit drinking. I have no problem being around alcohol. Yeah, I can go anywhere there's alcohol, and I have no issue with being around it. I have no issue with anybody drinking. I hate stupid drunks, and that's kind of being a hypocrite because I know I was a stupid drunk at certain times. But
yeah, but you didn't know it then.
I didn't know it then, so I just don't count. Yeah, but if someone wants to enjoy a drink, a nice old fashioned every now and then, I mean, that's good. But
I mean,
to excess. Anything to an excess, just like we're talking addictions, can be dangerous.
It can be. I'll tell you, So I have very close people to me that have been addicted to drugs. And I mean, you talk about almost ruined their lives. And that's one of the reasons I never done it. I know I have addicted personality. I know if I start doing drugs, I would do it. And I'm not saying, if you're in pain, you don't want to go on prescriptions and you smoke weed to take that pain away for that time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you have a real bad addiction. Because PTSD and depression causes it. But you need to know what the difference between the two are. PTSD, that is something that you wake up in the middle of the night screaming. You wake up, you can't sleep. People have insomnia over it, everything. Depression, and I heard the other day, somebody was telling me this way, and I heard it, and it about blew my mind. They saw something on TV, and it was a car wreck. And they said, man, when I saw a car wreck on this show and it looked like my car, it brought back PTSD. That's not PTSD. I'm sorry. That right there is it. That just worries you. I mean,
it's just trauma. That's trauma.
It is. It's trauma depression, and so, and I mean, I'm not knocking anybody for having any type of depression. I'm not knocking for anybody that has PTSD. I'm not knocking. I have a hard time because I don't know what PTSD feels like. I can honestly tell you. And for those who have it, I'm so sorry. I mean, I've heard things that just were scary. That I was like, man, and then I know people who deal with depression every day. I know people who deal with all types of depressions, manic depression, and everything. And it's amazing to me. A lot of them people know that they have addictive personalities, so they stay away from that stuff. They try to lead a healthy, good life, and that's what I want for the veterans. And that was my inspiration. Is I know a lady that has gone through what I'm talking about, and she has gotten so much better. Now, I can tell you, since I've been on diet, my cognitive state is a whole lot better.
And to that point about you're working on losing weight, eating is an addiction. Eating can be an addiction.
Oh, yeah.
And so we hadn't talked about that much prior, but I got to thinking as you're talking about this, I'm like, yeah, eating, you get that fix of the sweets or whatever. Oh, I'm eating, and you got to keep on eating and eating. And I mean, your stomach's only the size of a fist full of food. Basically, if you give yourself 20 minutes to consume food, it takes that long for your body to say, hey, I'm full, stop eating, but yeah, eating's another addiction. I know there's some big people out there, and I've been watching some, I know, well, there's TV stuff on like 600-pound something or another. It's reality TV shows, so
yeah,
eating to make yourself feel better.
And like Dennis, I'm reading his thing. He says he has nightmares at least 3 nights a week. I'm sorry to hear that. Jason, you're absolutely correct. They put chemicals in there, so you will be addicted, just like they put chemicals in dipping,
100%
smoking.
Yep.
And I like to have a beer every now and again, but I got a little carried away with my micheladas. Kind of helped with the build of the stomach. But I took care of that the Friday before I went on my diet. I accidentally told him to squeeze lime in my drink. Boy, that was a mistake. I got so sick, and I poured out every michelada mix I had. I can't even look at it. And and like Jason said, being addicted, it's harmful.
Mm-hmm.
It's harmful to yourself and to others. And so I just want everybody to have a real healthy life. And what's left, we don't know when we're going to be here. The man upstairs he knows, but we don't. Enjoy every day of it And I know I'm going to hear, well, if I'm going to enjoy it every day of it, I'm going to drink, but for each and every one of y'all that sit out there and know you're addicted to something, let's go with May. Let's kick it, kick the addiction. And so, and I'll tell y'all, if I cheat, I'll tell you. I'm going to be honest with you. The diet, nope, I haven't cheated one bit. And I'm determined. My start weight was about 202 pounds.
Holy crap!
I have not weighed myself yet. I can tell you.
You?
Yep.
Holy
5'8", dude, I remember my doctor going, look, it's time for you to start losing some weight. I'm like, man, I haven't. Look, 4 years ago, I weighed 124 pounds. When they put me on Lyrica, man, my weight started going up.
Yeah,
and I was happy, man. I was ecstatic. I was like, finally, they can't call me a stick boy, And then now, I have people going, golly, man, you're fat. So I was like, okay. So I want to get to about 165 to 175 in there.
That's a healthy weight.
Yeah. That's it. I want to be healthy. And so, y'all got anything else y'all want to add?
No, I think that's a good idea. There's a lot of addictions out there.
There's a lot,
and it might take you a little more thinking than spur of the moment of, hey, that's an addiction. That's something maybe I can put on a 30-day pause and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And just see how it changes.
Right.
I can tell you from me starting the program we're doing now from March until now, I can tell you, I feel so much better. I feel confident. I'm confident now. I know. So if I can feel confident, everybody can feel confident.
We had talked before. I did a 30-day plus pause from all Desert Storm groups. And on your Facebook, pause group for 30 days. And I didn't see any posts for over 30 days. And 1, I didn't miss them. 2, I was a happier individual.
Yes. Negativity is, you got to get away from that.
That negativity, especially during when the politics, elections are going on, and even post.
Right.
That negativity, especially on social media, it will just eat you away.
Right. And that's why I stay off this program on politics. I don't want any part of it.
Right.
I want to focus straight on what we did during Desert Storm, how we can help vets and how we can help each other. I need help just as much as the next person does. And I look towards everybody who watches, everybody who's been on the show, and y'all to help me along that way. And I want everybody to know that Wade, John, me, we're all here for you. I know Jason will talk to anybody who needs help. Dennis will talk to anybody. Pete, Chrissy, I can name it on. We can all help each other. And so I just believe that each and every one of us, just in May, let's take a 30-day pause of addictions and social media. Now you can get on there, watch the funny stuff. That's what I watch, but I don't watch any more political stuff. I'm done. At our barbershop, Fox News 24/7. I don't want to watch that stuff. It's down at the other end. I'm lucky. All I have is ringing in my ears. I can't hear it, but it's depressing. Just sitting there listening to it, it can be depressing. And I don't know why old people like that. I don't get it. That's all they do is watch politics. You're at the end of your life and you're worried about politics.
That gives us something to talk about, Kevin.
Man, you ain't that old, man. John, you ain't that old yet. You getting there. You getting there.
Oh, God. Why you got to egg it on, man? So, addictions, we're talking about negative. There are some good addictions, like if you're working out, you're still getting the dopamine rush, just in different mannerisms. But we're focusing on negative addictions. Most of the time when people talk about addictions, it's in the negative kind of, in the negative notion, not the positive. Because, being addicted to you know, exercise. That's not a bad thing. Can you overdo it? You absolutely can. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I definitely got issue. I got a sweet tooth that won't stop. That's been one of my nemesises is sweet tooth, you know,
One of my biggest
because that's
one
why I
is
brought up eating. I know how that
right.
is.
Eating mine is at nighttime. I like to lay in bed and I like to have cinnamon hard candy, and I mean I'd eat
Oh,
that, and my wife would scream, "Will you stop chomping on that? You're supposed to just suck on it and everything." And you know, I haven't had one. I'm like, I haven't had one. That to me, I thought was gonna, you know, kill me more than the Dr. Pepper. You know, but I find like I really don't need it. I don't crave. I don't have cravings anymore.
You know what's kind of funny is I mean, I'm sure it's not very veteran related, but when we had our tanning studio, indoor tanning is a very big addiction
Really?
for some people. Oh yeah, and so we would have literally the same customers literally every single day, almost down to the minute, would be coming in.
That's why you look so tan.
Well, they would be beyond tan, you know.
be
But
like orange.
no, not you. You don't turn orange. I mean, that's all
No,
lotion based. But they would be just, you know, black. You know,
right. And
every day, and in their brain, they saw white. They'd look at the mirror, they would see white, and then they would be the blackest people, blackest customers, and they would complain that the lamps weren't working. You know,
that's
I mean,
crazy.
Really?
that was an addiction.
So before we go, I also want y'all to think about this. Remember when you got back in April, May, around that area, you know, March, April, May, after Desert Storm? Think about how many people were pale white that needed to get the sun, and all of us came back and we had this perfect tan. You know, I was tan.
I don't know about perfect, but
It was perfect. I was like, man, I tell you, I lived on Guam for 4 years, so I had 4 years of a tan all year round. Everything. I'll pay for it later, I'm sure, you know, with skin cancer, you know. But with that being said, I want to thank y'all for listening. Hey, y'all go check out our Patreon, because that's where we do the after show and we talk about every single thing we want there. Also, YouTube is growing. I want to thank y'all so much for going over there. Keep it up. Keep sharing it and liking it, like we said in the beginning of the program. And I want everybody to have a good night. Also, on our store, on our Facebook page, and in the details, we actually have a store. So, y'all please go check that out. We're going to be adding more stuff to it as time goes over and everything. Next week, we'll be here at the same time, same place, same bad channel, just a whole different.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Everybody, I want y'all to have a good night, and we will see y'all next week. Thank y'all for joining us.